you've got low energy, you've got fatigue, your mood is off. There's a reason for that. It's not that you need more caffeine or you need an antidepressant. There's so much work that we could do together that'll really help you, like, bring you balance, whether it's your gut, whether it's your hormones, just all of it to optimize it, to bring you that energy back, give you that feeling of being happy back. All of that really, because if you carry those feelings, forget day after day. I mean, forget year after year, but even on a daily basis, it can change so much of your epigenetics.
What if aging isn't about slowing down, but leveling up? I'm Dr. Isaac Jones. This is the Longevity Leaders Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Longevity Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Rudy Mueller, and we have Dr. Christina with us today. I would love to hear a little bit more. We've been talking prior to the recording of this. I want to hear more about your journey into what led you here to the United States and maybe your background on your education and how you got here.
Sure. So I'm a physician in internal medicine by training. I have had a pretty global experience. I started out with my undergraduate years in Canada, which is where I'm from, in Toronto. And once I did my undergraduate degree there, I actually wanted a bit of a change in scenery, and I ended up doing my medical schooling in England,
Awesome.
which is quite exciting. And I thought, I'm going to stay there. This is really great. I love the place. I love the country. And I started doing my training in London, England. But my family were, trying to encourage me to come home, and they were going to change some of the licensing structures in Canada and like make it harder to get back. And I went, oh, but if I'm going to do it, I'll do it now. So I got into a competitive residency program there, and that's where I finished most of my training before I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, which is where I am now. So I finished my residency and fellowship there and then started practicing in Atlanta. And they don't make it hard. They don't make it easy for physicians. So along the way, I was writing board exams, not only where I was residing in, but also where I was going to go next. And unfortunately, it's just not one or two, but it's multiple and,
Right.
with no guarantee at the end of it. But it's such a humbling journey, because in the space that I'm in now, which is personalized longevity medicine, it gives you this perspective of the challenges that patients face with their health and really the importance of preventative care. It really dials in that it's not something that's local. It is something that's worldwide, because the problems that I was seeing, whether it's England, Canada, here, it's all the same. And, my nationality is Sri Lankan. I go there multiple times, go there at least once a year. And it's all of these factors and principles that we try to implement in preventative care can really be changed and change their life. So, we talk about longevity being not just your lifespan, but it's your health span, right? Because we don't want you just living longer. We want you living as well as possible.
Right.
And these things can impact people worldwide. And it's really important that you can teach them that preventative care to buy back time and energy for their life.
And so I'm curious about, through your experience from Canada to the UK to the States, did any particular location emphasize more preventative type of care, or were they all missing the boat on that?
I think they were all missing the boat, really. England is, in terms of healthcare systems, it's publicly funded and publicly administered. And then Canada is publicly funded, but it's privately administered. And then the United States is privately funded and privately administered. But as a practicing physician, you encounter the exact same issues. There's going to be its disparities in health. There's food deserts the same way. All of it exists, obviously in different scales, in whether it's in how much further you go to see that disparity. But it's not just what they have access to, but it's what they know that's the right thing to do. There's just a big knowledge gap that, the world is picking up, and we're getting more people interested in this type. It's making our job easier.
Sure.
And which is, it's so nice. And it means that you can have these conversations. You can save yourself some time almost,
Right.
in convincing people to make this change. But across the world, um, it is hard to push people to understand you want to invest in your health. I think the one thing I do see though that is that in the United States, people know that healthcare costs can be high. And so sometimes they're a little bit more forthcoming with spending on their health because they might be used to that, whether it's their insurance payments, whether it's their out of pocket costs. But it's a little bit harder of a kick, I would say, in England and
That
Canada.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they're not used to having to pay for
they're
it.
not
And
used to
so,
it. I will push because, a lot of my network is still Canadian based, and I do a lot of consults for people in Canada as well. To try to convince someone to pay even in Canada, if you do most of your labs are covered through their, general system. It's called OHIP, but to even encourage them to do something like their vitamin D level, which costs $25. I'm like, it
they
includes a
balk at that.
payment, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's a hard shift in their mind.
That's really interesting. I mean, it makes complete sense. But it's also cool to hear that this preventative medicine is something is growing, right? And when we talk about
Absolutely.
easier conversations, when we're having patients come in, I mean, obviously from a referral is always the easiest, but as you're having new patients come in, they've been listening to your content or they're a little bit familiar, it becomes that easier
Yeah.
conversation and conversion for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So where are you? I mean, right now with your practice in Atlanta and you're meeting with people in Canada, I'm assuming you're doing some virtual consultation.
If you're a medical doctor, nurse practitioner, chiropractor, or other health expert that's stuck in a broken system, there's a better way. The Freedom webinar shows you a proven 5-step system to build a 7-figure virtual health practice or how to modernize your current brick and mortar practice without the burnout. Learn to create high-ticket programs, automated income, residual revenue, and attract clients ready to work with you. Book your $1 million strategy session today by clicking the link in the description.
Yeah, I would say about 90% virtual. There's still a few patients that I would see in person for various reasons, but my practice is predominantly virtual. Offer personalized care, so it's very, the ability to do this type of medicine. I think the biggest thing it gives patients is time for them to share their stories. And when they share their stories in a deeper level, so you're not just shuffled in and out in 10 to 15 minutes, you gain a lot more knowledge about where their health journey possibly started becoming deranged, and where their pivoting moments were. And you can take that and really personalize their care. I tell my patients all the time that even if you have the exact same lab results as your neighbor, you would not be on the same plan because your story is not the same. And that includes their testing options, their supplement plans, their medication options, their peptide options, just any of it is all just very personalized because they tell their story, and it's from their story that you can extrapolate what it is that is going to really help with their health journey.
Yeah, yeah. And that timeline, right? We utilize a timeline. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
100%. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, you map it out. Yeah,
Right.
like we ask questions. I'm sure, we're all doing this. Like we talk about the state of their mother's health. Like even if they're 70, like was your mom stressed when she was pregnant with you? Like what was your early childhood years like? Just all of that has an impact on your gut microbiome, your dopamine status, all of it.
I think one of the I'm just curious about your thought, but well, like one of the most rewarding experiences besides helping somebody get better and experience your health is that first consultation when you walk through the timeline and you retell the story to that patient and you give them these aha moments and that trust that you feel and then often results in tears, whether it be for both the practitioner or, and or
Yeah,
the patient, is got to be one of the most rewarding things that I've ever experienced. Right. And it's
100%.
so blessed to be able to do it on a
I
daily
know.
basis.
I mean, we're in a very privileged state to be, trusted with this story that they share of their entire life journey. And yeah, countless times it's brought both of us to tears and
Yeah,
in these discussions
yeah.
for
They finally
sure.
feel heard,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Cool. Sorry, that was my own little
No,
selfish
yeah.
bit because it's an amazing thing to be able to experience. And I don't think people realize how impactful this can be. And so, if a practitioner, I'm talking to other practitioners that don't practice this way, I'd be curious to get your input on what you would recommend. But I think that the timeline is a great approach. Obviously, getting education around functional medicine, longevity to have a good background there. But just having that time to listen to your client with the timeline is a phenomenal approach where you're able to lay out, birth history, preconception, what was their mother's health like, et cetera, and then moving forward in that. And was there a discerning point where you started to feel unwell? I mean, if you had to give a recommendation to a practitioner that doesn't practice, what would be?
I still practice in the hospital
Do
actually.
you
So
really? Oh, I didn't know that.
I do some part-time work in the hospital, and really the hospital is where a lot of the foundation of my career was.
Mm.
Because I do inpatient care and I still do it to this day.
Is it ER work or is it
Internal medicine. So
internal
as a
medicine? Okay. All
hospitalist
right.
in the, in the United States, we call it the hospitalist. And, but covering critical care, covering inpatient units, I still do this. And so on a daily basis, I would encounter colleagues who just would not, who either are not thinking this way or don't believe,
Mm.
all of these strategies, but it fuels my passion in this realm because when I meet these patients who've had a stroke that you could have, who that shouldn't have happened. I just walked out of the talk about end-stage renal disease in somebody's mother because their diabetes wasn't well controlled, and you wonder, sure, a lot of this is patient choices, empowering them to know that it's reversible, they can do something about it, but it's also the practitioners, right? And so to make them believe the importance of diet, exercise, and, prescribing another medication for their uncontrolled hypertension or their uncontrolled diabetes is not necessarily the right next step, is so valuable. But in terms of, what we can teach practitioners, I think is all the other mechanisms that all the other things that you can have in your toolkit that doesn't need to involve a medication, and B is truly like listening.
Yeah.
So I think an extra 5 minutes with somebody, which is hard because if you're purely insurance based and this is not what it's, this is not the care that they're trying to dictate, but in that extra 5 minutes, you can probably find something that's reversible or that's changeable to really impact these patients in a positive way.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you noticing practitioners that are your colleagues in these hospitals adapting at all to what you're?
100%.
Yeah.
I think they are. There's more and more physicians in even the subspecialized fields that are really they're really listening and finding like you guys are onto something. Like there's something real about this. You're right. I don't have to give another ACE inhibitor or a beta blocker, and I can actually their heart is racing because of an imbalance in one of their micronutrients, and so listening to these conversations and doing the work we're doing, which is trying to spread the message,
Right.
I think is getting there. It's working.
Yeah.
We need to keep doing it.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember 12 years ago is when I first started getting into going to like conferences for functional medicine and learning more. And it was this, okay, I still feel like we're growing. And then more MDs, more DOs, more people that were traditionally medically trained started to adapt more and adopt our thought process a little bit more. So it's so nice to hear. Like I got goosebumps. I mean, yes, absolutely. We're seeing it more in the hospital system. It's wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, 15 years ago, if you had told me that fatigue or energy or mood was going to be the primary complaint that I would like be so passionate to change and heal, I would have said absolutely not,
Right.
because
Go have some more caffeine.
yeah. And now this is what I say, like, you've got low energy, you've got fatigue, your mood is off. There's a reason for that. It's not that you need more caffeine or you need an antidepressant. there's so much work that we could do together that'll really help you, like, bring you balance, whether it's your gut, whether it's your hormones, just all of it to optimize it, to bring you that energy back, give you, that feeling of being happy back. Because all of that really, because if you carry those feelings, forget day after day, I mean, forget year after year, but even on a daily basis, it can change so much of your epigenetics. And so, yeah, so, even like from an individual perspective, knowing that my thought process could really do a 360, I know that there's going to be the ripple effect can continue.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm curious. I mean, when we're talking about your having a virtual practice, what is the ideal client, or even if you're willing to share a client story, success story that you've had recently, maybe some challenges that came up? Is that something you'd be willing to do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, so my ideal client is, because I'm an internist by trade, I'm used to seeing everything. You walk into the day, you actually don't know what you're getting, and it, age-wise, gender-wise, whatever. Um, but one of my favorite recent client stories is a young guy in his, well, just turned 40, came to me with a lot of vague energy and mood symptoms. And he said it was because his eczema was so bad and it was his skin issue. And we said, "Oh, okay, sure. Like, let's start from the beginning. Let's do this timeline. Let's do this exercise." Uncovered that he went on this international trip when he was in his early teen years. And since then, his gut actually wasn't normal.
Mm.
And, when I was talking about what's normal bowel movement, and, I don't know if any of this is TMI, but, all of that, we uncovered that there's a lot of work in his gut that we had to do. Simple thing like regulating it, giving back the microbiome diversity that he needed. Um, I've had my third follow-up call with him just last week, and he has more energy. His eczema is no longer an issue, and he has regular bowel movements, and he has that much more energy to get through the day and do the things he wanted to do, which, it's often the story, they come with you being like, "This is what I want you to fix." But, I asked for permission and get them to take that step back, be like, "Can I explore different avenues with you?" Because if you've struggled with energy or fatigue or depression or anxiety, any changes in your mood, even if you don't label it as such, you often feel like what the reason is. Or it might be that you've tried all the things and you truly are stuck, but it's so variable. Like, I surprise myself with the things I find to fix that really help them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the impact is so much greater than what their one focus is,
Yeah.
right?
So it's so much better than it was just fixing the skin. No, we fixed the gut that was actually a lingering thing that he had experienced for multiple decades
Mhm.
that he thought was normal, or that became part of his normal, that now his normal is so elevated.
Yeah, yeah. So was it an opportunistic, like, it was an infection that it
Yeah.
parasite
Yeah,
or
he had a
something?
he had a massive overgrowth of H. pylori.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right,
Yeah.
fair enough.
And like really low because of the overgrowth, he had really low commensal bacteria.
Mhm. And so we were able to fix that, and within 3 months, the guy's jumping up
Yeah,
and
so
down
like
like that.
massive, like,
And
and
he
then
didn't have to go on testosterone?
yeah, exactly,
Right,
right?
right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. So for anyone that's listening that's interested in potentially pursuing a consultation with you, working with you, whether it be in the Atlanta area, in Canada, in
Yeah.
London, anywhere across the United States, what's the best way that they can to reach out to you?
Yeah, send us a message. We do discovery calls, whether it's whether it's via the phone or Zoom. We do those sessions. So you can send us an email at our practice, support@extendmedical.com. Go on our website, get more information. It's extendmedical.com, or give us a call. Yeah, happy to meet people, because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is make people understand that optimal living should be your normal. If there's something bothering you, making you feel off, you should validate it and address it. Because so many times people go to the doctor or they seek help and they're being told that things are normal based on what we call normal lab values. And I know you know this well, but we look at things from an optimal lens. And so if it's not optimal and you fix it, then actually you become so much better for yourself. And then that translates, right? I help a lot of entrepreneurs, and that translates not just for themselves, but then their partners, their families, their businesses, and then their businesses include their employees.
Right.
And so the ripple effect even for themselves is huge. And yeah, so please, if you're struggling with any health condition or any symptom that you feel like it's not you, then come check us out.
Yeah, if you're told you're normal, come see her.
Yeah.
Right?
You're normal, but you got something off.
Yeah, right, right. All right, thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Longevity Leaders podcast. Our Longevity Leaders community is on mission to transform 100 million lives by 2040. If you enjoyed this show, please share this with somebody that you know, especially another doctor or physician, but also click that follow button. Until next time, stay strong and live long.